Hi, my name is Scott Piddington, and this is a video for hosts of New Hampshire Educational Theatre Guild theater festivals. I'm going to show you how to create the reports that you can use with your host staff to help you run the festival by taking information that is submitted via the registration forms that your guests fill out. That information, after they submit it, lands in a Google Sheet. And in those Google Sheets, we're going to take that information and create a bunch of Google Docs that you can print later. So you're going to go to the folder that was shared with you by the Guild. In this case, it's for a state festival at Bow High School. And in that folder, you should be able to see there is a subfolder for name tags. We'll get to that at another time. There is the festival registration form responses file, which is the Google Sheet where all the info lands. And there's an instruction file that tells you what I'm telling you now, and a bunch of templates for the 4 different types of information reports you can create, which is basic information, school host information, technical information, and timer info. You might also find the packets there that we put up on the web for folks going to your festivals. So we're going to start by opening this responses file. I'm going to double click on that. And there's the Google Sheet. So far, we only know of 5 of the schools that are going to this festival. And this information is being pulled in from the regional registration forms. And that's why you have this craziness here in the information for the first column, but this looks exactly the same as it will for a regional festival or a state festival. The source is just a little different. Before you start, I always like to take this bar and put it here so that when I scroll, I can keep the name of the school over here. The first time you look at the file, this might be all the way over there. And so you can just get the hand here and click and drag it over a few, and that way when you do scroll over, these things stay locked in place, these first few columns. Now you're going to want to scroll all the way to the right, and you see all these crazy fields over here that don't make any sense. This is generated by the add-on we're using, which is called Autocrat. For the most part, you can leave these alone. It doesn't hurt to delete them at any time because Autocrat will regenerate them. If there's data in these last 4 columns that are called document merge status, basic info, and the same for timer info and tech info and school host info, you'll want to highlight this area here with that info. There's nothing here now. And then you just hit your delete key and it'll go away. These are the markers that Autocrat uses to determine whether it's already run the report or not. And if it thinks it's already run it, it won't do it again. And I usually hit home just to put myself back there. So as long as they're clear over there, you can go up here to the menu bar and drop down the add-ons menu and click on Autocrat. Well, you mouse over Autocrat and then come over here and click on Open. And it's working. It's loading Autocrat. And it's doing a little more loading here with the dots. Once it's loaded, you see there are 4 jobs listed here. And in order to run each job, you're just going to click the play button. It says Run Job. Don't bother with the edit or preview or trash because you don't want to get in there. So I'm going to click the play button here and it's going to run and it'll tell us how many records it's going to process. I'm going to just pause the video here a minute because it takes about 10 seconds per in order to get there. All right, and now that job's done, and now we're going to run the tech info job. And once again, I'm going to pause the video. And tech info is done, so we're going to run the school host info. And finally, we're going to run the timer info report. So the timer report is done. Now I'm going to close the AutoCrat pop-up. And I always like to go immediately over to the right end of my spreadsheet. And now you see these 4 columns have been filled up with things that say data merged and appended successfully manually run by NHETG1, but it'll say it's run by you. And so I'm going to click and drag to highlight all of that. I'm going to delete it. It's okay to delete the column headings if you want. If this is the first time it's been run and none of this was here before, these document merge status columns will actually be distributed among all these other columns back here. I usually just delete the entire column, each of those 4 columns, and then AutoCAD goes and puts them at the end, and they're easier to find. You could delete all of these each time, and that would be okay. I'm going to hit the home key just because it makes me feel better to be over here. And I'm going to close the spreadsheet, and now we're back over here at our Google Drive folder, and you see now we have info basic, info school host, tech, and timer, and it has the date and time that these reports were run. We can open up each of these Google Docs, and there's a page for each school. So it's got all that information. This is your basic information, directors and contact information and such, and the name of the show and the basic times of things. So you'll see this for each of the 5 schools that we've got information on so far. Now let's take a look at the host info. And this is very similar to the general info, but without all the personal contact information. So what we do have here are the size of the group, the length of the show, the type of the show. We've also got the school colors and mascot and the recent shows that they've worked on. And we're going to take a brief look here at tech info. And there's a lot of information here. Okay, it's going to tell you how much time to set and load in and strike the set and what you've got for set. And at the bottom of the page is a section that the stage manager can mark where the travelers are supposed to be and who sets them, and also the start and stop cues and whether the psych is in or out and who operates the main drape and things like that. And you can see once again there's a separate page for each production with all kinds of information, and this is real handy. I usually give a copy of all these to the stage manager, a copy of them all to the lighting host and the sound host, and one to the load-in host. Now the last file is for the timers, so they can anticipate the start and stop cues of the show and how many blackouts there are, and record the time it takes to set the set and strike the set. Here again, a separate page for each. I would print 3 of these because I've got 3 timers. The other thing that I might have done before I ran any of these is to sort this alphabetically on the name of the school, and that's easily done. I would just click in here, so I select the whole spreadsheet. I would go up to data, and I would come down from data to sort range. I would click data has header rows. Do I want to sort on the timestamp? No, I want to sort on the school name, and then I would sort, and now it's in alphabetical order. So I think that's all I have to show you today. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me, Scott Piddington, SPIDDINGTON at SAU73.org, and have a great time hosting.